Perfect. Good evening, everyone. I think after an exciting discussion about the future path for finance professional, this is a very relevant topic. While we are charting the ways for future path, I think we all agree that uh, there is no future path without AI. And I think on a lighter note, don't want to offend anyone. Uh, uh, this is this is the right topic for this forum and this panel because artificial intelligence, I think we all as finance professional know how to use it, and we have been using it very effectively for the last so many decades. Now people are learning how to use artificial intelligence. But moving on, just to kind of with the topic finance, uh, it's no longer just kind of scorekeeping, right? It's all about how do we partner with the business, how do we provide foresights, and and now we are at a very interesting juncture when the world is changing very rapidly, not only in terms of the business cycles but also in terms of how the AI is changing everything what we do in our day-to-day life, not only in finance, not only in business, but in our day-to-day life as well. So this will uh, ask a lot of questions, and right now we're going to keep the focus on the right questions for the finance leader. And as finance leader, while we are expected to move fast, we also need to deliver sharper insights, but at the same time we need to protect the trust, right? So how do we balance all this in this new AI era, right? So we're gonna talk about this with a very interesting panel. We have very experienced panel with us sitting right next to me. Hemant, I'll start with you. The very first question: AI is being positioned as the future of forecasting and reporting, right? But do you believe that AI will outperform human judgment? And if so, in which areas? What's your sense?
Namaskar. Thank you, Vikas. You know, you've set me thinking. I can afford the ask the same question here, but I can't go back home and ask the same question. Ki, is my wife better or am I better? Okay. You know, you can say it here and I will entertain you. But the moment you say it at my home, I'll say, boss. Sorry. No, so I think the analogy here is एक सिक्के के दो पहलू हैं. So neither can be better. They have to coexist, because even if you take this analogy forward into practicality of AI, one thing that stands out is what can AI do? I mean, if you do a very ruthless pros and cons, then AI can handle large data sets. It can handle complex data sets. It can do repetitive things very fast. Okay. What it can't do, it doesn't know ki if one gentleman imposes 50% tariff, like the earlier panel said, what should be my response? It does not know that if he had said the same answer at my home, how would my wife have reacted? Okay, it does not know that. It does not know what am I feeling here, sitting, thinking कि भाई इसके बाद क्या करना है. That it will never know. So there are things which AI can do, but there are things which only natural. Remember, that is why it is called artificial. It's an artificial intelligence. It is not natural intelligence. Natural intelligence is only God-given. So there is something which the artificial intelligence can do, Like I said, data sets, heavy data sets, complex, speed. But what it can't do is natural thinking. Logical, it may still do. But natural thinking, understanding that emotion, where if the national anthem is being played, that feeling that comes here, those goosebumps that you get, that it won't know. So both have to coexist, and it's not either or, but it is both. And the real benefit will be when what is the output of artificial is checked by natural. Well, believe me, I'll give you one more analogy before I pass the mic. These two that I have here, which I'm pointing to, are my natural eyes. A lot of us have at least one or two phones which have artificial or man-made eyes. You capture a photo with your eyes of the natural beauty, and you capture a photo with one of the phones that you're carrying, or possibly a DSLR. What remains in your memory? 10 साल बाद ना, even if you're a very tech savvy guy, you have digitized all your photos, you will still need to go back to the photo to open it, to see it. But that memory which you have captured with your natural eyes will remain embedded forever. So, all in all, both have to coexist. There ain't one answer, but both have to exist. And when you work both in tandem, and I'll have a lot of HR people eating out of my hand when I say, when both collaborate, that is when magic will happen.
No, very aptly, Hemant, as you rightly said, logical intelligence may come from AI, but the natural intelligence has to. So that's where human and AI has to work hand in hand. But on a lighter note, if me and my wife both are using AI very, very regularly, then AI keeps on building the context of the individual. Then the AI may tell me that how my wife is thinking. Leaving that aside, coming to you, Sanjay, that if you have to pick one finance process where AI gives, because as CFOs, we keep on asking ROI in every damn thing. So if one process which needs to be automated using AI, which gives the fastest ROI, which finance process you're going to pick?
Yeah. Now people are talking quite a lot about forecasting, about strategic thinking through AI. But if we talk of the fastest ROI, I will definitely choose AP, wherein all the invoices are being taken into the system directly. They are voluminous, those are repetitive, and those attract quite a lot of manpower. So my thinking would be that I do the AI implementation for my AI, where I can schedule my payments directly to the banks. And so it starts from end to end. And the benefit, as you asked, ROI is very, very fast into it. You can straight away measure to the P&L, and you can identify that the risk which we were carrying when we were having people using this, because it will bring in exceptional reports, and exceptional reports can be straight away seen into that there is no risk, duplication or fraud, because it will be able to catch hold of fraud in a very, very fast manner. People generally get mixing that OCR can also do that. But the matter of fact is there is a huge difference between OCR and AI. OCR is just a reader. It will convert the text into the format you are looking forward to have, wherein if you make a minor change in the invoice, it will not be able to read. And everything would come as an exceptional report. But if AI is there, it knows the behavior of the vendors. Even if the invoices are being changed, it can straight away capture. And it will create the credibility of the organization. It can take the discounts. It can catch hold of the frauds. So I will definitely go for AP for the faster ROI. And then since it is the process which can be straight away seen. So once this is being, okayed and the people are becoming accustomed to adopting this, using this, then gradually I'll go to the other processes wherein we can't see the things directly and we have to rely because it is going to make a trust. So beginning with a small step and moving forward in a phased manner. This is what I will go for.
And if I ask you which is the process you're going to automate the last, which will that going to be?
As Hemant mentioned, there are which is to be done in the last. This is what
Correct.
you are asking. As Hemant said, that wherever the human judgment is involved, you are signing up the balance sheet, you are looking the audit reports, you are making the provisions, you are doing the closings, where a lot of human judgment is required. Behavior of the people needs to be seen, skills of the people needs to be read, desires of the promoters and stakeholders, it can't be done until and unless you have got your own judgment. So those things which are pertaining to signing a balance sheet, closing of the financial statement, making the provisions, doing the impairment, all these things I would like to keep it to my judgment and will identify and get the indicators through the AI. But nevertheless, final call would be of mine. And this will be the last process where I will go to implement it.
Interesting. Thanks, Sanjay. So, Arvind, the next question, which is a segue from what just Sanjay shared. I mean, I have moved from CFO role almost 15 months back, and I've not done monthly closing for the last 15 months. And in fact, there was very interesting conversation I was having with some of my friends, because now I'm part of the global tech team in my enterprise, and there will be a shutdown we're going to follow from 24th of December to 5th of January. And all the finance folks in our company was crying that, okay, we have to do the quarterly close and all that stuff. Do you think that in this AI era, the way we do our monthly and the quarterly close will change completely, or let me just stretch it a little bit more and say the monthly closing process or the quarterly closing process will be eliminated as we do it today?
Thank you. I think that's a apt question, which is very much related to we all accountants, fortunately. Yeah, we are more focused about the monthly closing, quarterly closing. And I think Hemant has covered for each and every answer in advance. And I think knowingly you asked that question to him only. Judgments and then, empathy, and he has covered most of the things. But for me, I think in one word in case I say no. AI cannot simply take away my responsibility of closing the monthly books or quarterly books. But at the same moment in time, yes, nowadays what has started happening is I am getting that MIS not monthly basis. Now I have started getting it on weekly basis. Now I have started getting it on daily basis. Or in some of the cases, it's kind of handy on my mobile phone. So I can check how much collection I have made till now, how much billing I have done till now, how much payment I have done till now. At least, but again, I'll not say it is AI, it's automation. Nowadays, I think for last 3 years or 3.5 years, we have started talking about AI, isn't it? After the chat GPT thing came into the picture in November 21 or December 21, whatever. Otherwise, all these things used to be done by automation, RPA. All these things were done by all these people only. Now, in case of my earlier days with my Mahindra days, we used to have one project called, C1. Means, let us try to close my books of account on day 1. Now, 5-6 plants, supply chain and management, so many vehicles moving on the road, warehouse, this, that. But with the help of this automation, and obviously not AI, some part was done by automation, some part was done by, like my friend was suggesting, means your judgment, your manual intervention. So we have started taking some provision instead of on 31st. Let me take and try to close the provision on 27th or 28th day of the month, isn't it? But we were able to close on 1.5 days when I left or when I move over. But yeah, things have changed. Things are changing in a big way. After 6 months, we may be talking about some other concept also about finance, closing, and everything. And but for me, yes, quarterly, monthly closing will be done by me. Like you were saying, what is the ask by my promoter? What is the ask by some other stakeholders also? What is my risk mitigation strategy? What is my future strategy, which AI may not be knowing? But yeah, at least few of the things will be at my finger point for sure.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with.
It's a very, very pertinent question and important questions, because when everything is on real time basis, I will like to add what Arvind said very aptly, that if everything is on real time basis, why there is a need of closing? Need of closing is very, very important, because you cannot pick anything as at. Your financial statements are being made as at. If somebody, regulator, GST returns, income tax returns, TDS, anything has to be done, that is to be done based on some closing number at a specific date. If that specific date is not there, the judgment Arvind mentioned are not exercised, you don't have those statements to submit to the authorities, corporate governance, board, and anywhere, because judgment needs to be exercised, and the date as at date, the statements are to be made.
Very, very rightly said. But just to extend that discussion, if things are prepared on a real-time basis and it's available on a click of a button, we can apply any cutoff date and produce those reports.
Yeah, so cutoff needs to be there. So closing has to be there. Hard closing has to be there. It is fine. Your bank reconciliations would be made, your cash flows would be made, your vendors' payment would go on its own. But at the same time, where you were at a point of time, you need to keep that in the track for disclosing, for making people understand, management understand, promoters understand, and so is the further stakeholder. Wherein
Correct.
you will have to have those judgments, which was your last question.
No, absolutely. So Akshay, now this brings you in the discussion, and at Mensa brand, you guys are doing everything with automation, very efficiently, running the entire operating system very, very efficiently. That's what I've been hearing, right? So if I ask you as CFO, which is one process in finance, you're gonna put your foot down in your enterprise that I'm not gonna automate, I'm not gonna use AI in this particular process.
Sure. Good evening. I think a lot has been said. I think the base building. I think look, AI can automate execution. It cannot automate judgment, right? So I think there are multitude of areas within the the finance function itself which involves a lot of judgment, right? And one of the areas which comes top of the mind for me is purely the capital allocation, right? I mean, where you spend a lot of time doing annual strategic planning, right? I believe that AI can, with this level of historical analysis, etc., it can help you to enable the decision making, right? You can take much more informed, rich decisions, which will help you. Your probability of success is higher, right? But it cannot tell you what is the market scenario, what is the competitive, let's say, the landscape, how it is evolving, how is the consumer behavior. You just need to spot an eye. Had everything been based on data, I'm sure you would have never seen on Zomato app and rider, because this is not monetized, right? It's more customer and obsession, the love, right? So I think you need to see a problem statement from multiple lens, right? So I think, as I think, I think all the esteemed panelists said, right? I think it's AI can automate execution for you, but not the judgment, right? So I think that's the key differentiator. I think going forward, I mean, of course, this topic has blown out of proportion, where we have started feeling, can AI in the long run
Replace finance.
replace finance? I don't think so, right? I mean, what I might feel is that, even look, I think how the finance function has evolved over the years, from an hindsight to insight to foresight, right? I mean, and I think now with business finance, I think we are one of the key enabler, functions, right? Which I think we just need to have a lot more play in the foresight and insight, right? And that's where I think AI is going to play a critical role. It will never take away a judgment. Of course, I think what is your current org, you might have more leaner, agile orgs in the future, where a lot of, I think, the redundant work, or for the lack of a better word, gets automated for you. You just can sleep over a lot of things. But I mean, I think as a leader, you get paid for taking decisions, right? I mean, so some quality decisions. If you take one a day, just imagine how many good decisions you can take in your career. So I think that's my point.
Thanks, Akshay. No, I think the consistent message which I'm getting is definitely we're going to get a lot of efficiency on the back of AI. We're going to replace a lot of mechanized or repetitive tasks, but the judgment will still be with the finance folks, which I agree to a large extent. But I think slowly and gradually, as we start looking at AGI, some part of judgment will also kind of start coming from the AI, but that's not the topic of discussion right now. But this actually is a nice segue into the next section, which is trust and transparency, right? While we all are saying judgment, but I think on the back of it, we all are saying people are trusting us. They've given us this responsibility. Then how can we leave everything to technology and let those things go to either board or go to either GST department and so on and so forth? At the end of the day, we are responsible for it, right? I think, is it fair to say that we as finance folks are, and bear with me for the time being, resisting with this technology AI, not because of the complexity, but because of the lack of the trust in the system? Is it fair to say that? Because if we are taking something, let's say, to our board, and we don't understand how a large part of the data set in that board report is being generated using AI, will we be comfortable? Or if we submit that to regulators, will we be comfortable? Will our auditors start relying on the reports produced by AI? Right? So that's the kind of thing I want to kind of dig deeper into. So yeah, Hemant, I'll come back to you. Accuracy and controls are two pillars on which is, I would say, quote unquote, the foundation of the finance function. If that's true, should we trust AI model we don't fully understand if its predictions consistently outperform human judgment? Right? Where do you draw the line between black box intelligence and acceptable governance?
Sir, you have asked me a very philosophical question. सर दुख को चुनूं कि सुख को? अब ये मेरे हाथ में तो नहीं है कि दुख को चुने कि सुख हो. As someone said, dukh and sukh are like the two shores of a river. They flow along together. So I think our answer is also somewhere in between, because when you are getting into so much of complexity, and which AI is helping you to answer, it's very difficult for anyone to understand to the last level कि भाई एक वो Excel खोलो, F2 मारो, उसका हमको show me that formula. It's not going to work that way. Correct? So, to that extent, it is what it is. Now, it's up to you whether you want to accept it or not. It's like dukh. And I am very categorically saying that black box is dukh. I mean, you don't have a choice. Dukh aayega. In the hope कि सुख भी आएगा. Similarly, when the output comes, then if you're not going to use the natural intelligence which God has given you, to at least figure out कि भैया सही लग रहा है कि नहीं. There's always a gut. I mean, and as we have all seen that as we move on in life, data becomes a little less and gut becomes a little more. So your gut will tell you, जिसे अपने भाषा में देहाती दिमाग बोलते हैं ना, that'll tell you whether it looks right or not. Acceptability over a period of time will come to that black box. So dukh will be there, and you will have to accept dukh. You don't have a choice. But the point is, you will also have to see when is sukh coming. So when you use your natural intelligence and you realize that, broadly it looks correct. So imagine it's a model that it has generated. In your mind, you think it's correct. Then what will you do?
But
After
Hemant, sorry if I may interrupt you. I'm sorry I'm interrupting you in between.
please.
But just want to, you're right. Probably, wo jab dukh aayega, some of us being the leaders may take a position and may take a call कि यार ये ठीक लग रहा है या नहीं लग रहा है, and we'll take it forward. But the problem is, if the trust is not there in the system, my team will never gonna bring it up to me. That's where and they will not gonna take that call. How do we build that trust in the system that people start relying and using these new technologies which are still evolving very fast?
As I said, you don't like dukh. You have to accept it. It's an evolution. You are not going to trust it immediately. And look, there will be biases also. What is AI? It is what is taught. If it has been taught a data set which is biased, then its answer will also be biased. And that's exactly where what I'm saying is where your natural intelligence comes. Okay, if I'll go back to my beautiful wife. If AI keeps telling her, boss, in the Western world, no, every 2 minutes there's a divorce. So it's quickly, every 2 minutes you must divorce him, otherwise you're looking at the wrong data set. I mean, you're looking at the wrong husband. वो करेगी ना, because उसको बार बार बोला जा रहा है, बॉस डिवोर्स कर, देख वहाँ हो रहा है. Those concepts of the Indian for life till death do we part, वो data set है ही नहीं. Correct? So it's not a choice that is being given. At some point in time, you'll have to accept it. Now, let's be honest, and I'm being a little, I don't want to get into a divide here, but सब कोई जानता है, everyone knows, it's an open secret that all your devices are listening. All your devices are listening whether we like it or not. All the privacy agreements that you sign and everything, वो आप पढ़ोगे भी नहीं. If anyone can stand up and say in this room that I have read through that 50-page agreement, मैं उसके चरण धो के पीऊंगा. Because all you will do is you'll keep scrolling down, जहाँ पर you'll click a tick and you'll say I agree. Okay, the devices are listening. Yet you're still using the app. 1% in the world, 1% of the populace in the world may have deleted that app. 99% are still using it. It's the same thing. It's an evolution. You will use it because it's dukh. You don't have a choice. However, how you use sukh, using a natural intelligence, is what you will have to come to the party.
So, I was coming to you, Arvind, actually.
Vikas was very good moderator and very soft moderator. And I was about to say, in case of Vikas, it would have been my son sitting there, because that's from new generation, Gen Z. And he would simply say in one line, no, what you are talking about, dukh sukh, it is sukh only. I should not use my mind where that is not going to help me. Even I think 10 years ago when that iPhone 4 was there, he used to ask, इसकी वो मम्मी पूछेगी बेटा जरा बाहर देख के जरा बारिश हो रही है, तो he would ask Siri. तो that's the thing. But from finance side, I would say कि साहब देखो जहाँ पैसे की मामला आता है ना, तो हम भरोसा नहीं करते किसी को.
No, but that's where the question is. So, Arvind, let me ask you the next question. If there are now, Hemant ji has very rightly said कि दुख तो आ गया है. अब धीरे धीरे उसको हम कैसे सुख में convert करेंगे? That's the art we need to all learn, right? Now, we take something to either board or take it to the regulator, but there are certain material discrepancies, right? So, as a CFO, you tell me who should be accountable. Is it the model? Is it the machine? Is it the vendor who has provided that AI model? The analyst who used it and prepared that report and given it to you? Or you are accountable for that?
I'm responsible.
Because trust.
No trust, nothing. पैसे का मामला है, I am responsible. मैं मेरी टीम को सिंपल बोलता हूँ. There are a number of reasons or a number, mean I am coming from that सरकारी kind of company. And in case I am talking to my GM and saying, hey, यार ये जरा देख ले. अरे नहीं sir, why you are taking that additional responsibility? This was looked after by that commercial guy earlier, or this was looked after by the purchase guy or contract guy earlier. And then admin or HR, mean a number of departments we have got. I used to always tell, hey, in case there is some system, there is some company, there is some kind of organization, whatever happens, everywhere in every process, money is involved. आदमी 2 मिनट लेट आ रहा है, money involved है. 2 मिनट जाके बाहर चाय पी के आ रहा है, मनी इन्वॉल्व है. तो इट्स नॉट अबाउट दैट सबमिशन ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल्स ओनली. मीन मैं मॉडल को दोष देता रहूं कि मैं वो बेचारे वेंडर को दोष दे दूं, ना बाबा ना. आई एम रेस्पॉन्सिबल साहब, वेरी मच क्लियर. पैसे के मामले में आप किसी को थोप ही नहीं सकते जिम्मेदारी.
Very rightly said. What do you think, Sanjay ji?
Yeah, I think as far as accountability is concerned, that cannot be outsourced. Because if you talk of AI, it is merely a tool. It is a tool to support you, to recommend something, and your team is doing work on that. They are responsible, I'm using the word, not accountable. They are responsible for their operational efficiency, to follow the signals, whatever are coming, to follow the alerts, and to make sure that they are doing the work within that framework. But if you talk of that vendor has not given the right tool, vendor has chosen the design you have given to the vendor. He will make it, he will get approval from you, you need to verify the things first, and then he is free from that. And moreover, AI does not have any physical or legal existence who can be held accountable. It is only CFO who, by the virtue of the law, who by the virtue of the definition and framework all across the country or worldwide is responsible. Accountability cannot be transferred. It can be only facilitation you can take from the people in a bigger way. But you are accountable for that as CFO of the company.
Very well said. I think accountability cannot be transferred. It's the responsibility which can be shared with someone. But Akshay, you tell me, and right now I'm just focusing on trust. So when we are talking about trust, we talked about finance team, we talked about board, we talked about regulators. How about auditors? Do you ever think that auditors will start accepting the data or the reports generated by AI?
Hey, look, I think I would, the way I would answer this is, I mean, that's a happy state. I mean, if that happens, I would look forward for the day when it really happens.
वो सुख वाला state.
So I think, look, I think the reality of life is AI can compress time, but it cannot compress accountability. I think a lot has been said here, right? I mean, you cannot outsource the accountability in the room, right? Within the finance domain, there are multitude of areas of it. Like, I mean, I touched upon capital allocation. There is more to it. I mean, how would you do your tax provisioning? I think, different companies on same topic or problem statement take different set of opinions, right? In fact, I think the accounting, even if you go, I think it's an art. It's not really a rule based. It's more a judgment based, right? And a lease classification can different in two sides of balance sheet, right? I mean, and the P&L of it, right? One, I mean, a same set of an agreement, two different views, right? So I think you cannot take away this beauty of accounting, the different levels of judgment across. I think what you need to define in your org is what is the one area which is the low risk and which is like high on execution, and you just automate that, where you spend a lot of your time on, right? That's where I think you can sleep over it, right? That's where I think beyond that, if you're doing let's say if you're doing a strategic acquisition, right? There are different levels of accounting which follows. What do you need to follow? There are different levels of tax. There is a FEMA, right? If you have so there are multitude of examples where the judgment is required, and that's where I think you need to play a role on, right? And I don't think so. I think AI is going to take away from us that. Of course, I think financials with judgments could be going to auditors, let's say in an automated way, but there will be a significant role and accountability lies with me, right? And going forward.
So the trust is on all of us, not on the AI. That's the. So quickly, just looking at the time, we are running short of time. But there is another very important. I thought we still have 1 minute. There is another very important aspect is compliance and regulations. And we've seen generally when a technology is evolving, regulations are always lagging behind because they need to see how the technology is evolving, how should we regulate it. And we as CFOs, on the one side, we are required to be champion of innovation. And on the other side, we need to protect the interest and ensure that we are not crossing the line from a compliance or a regulation perspective. So should one be looking at doing a wait and watch kind of a scenario for regulations to evolve? Or should one be taking a little bit more proactive approach where they say we will go for self-regulated kind of environment? So Hemant, I'll start with you. What's your perspective there, and how will you do that? Because even most of us don't know how the regulations will going to evolve and what's right or what's not completely in this AI era.
Sir, I come back to natural intelligence which God has given us. And if we use that in the right manner, we'll know that what is right and use self-regulation, basis the right path and move forward. Because otherwise, we're going all over the place. We'll start scratching our heads. What is regulation going to come? We'll try to play the regulation. We'll try to game the system. That's exactly not what a CFO should be doing, trying to game the system. He should use where there are no rules or where there's gray. He should lift the corporate wheels, so as to say, see what is the right path, and that's where you should be playing. That's your playing arena.
Very rightly said. Akshay, any additional perspective on this?
No, I think at the end of the day, I mean, you need to live it. I mean, there is a fiduciary responsibility with you. You cannot bypass that, right? I mean, and you just need to live it up and make sure that the organization also lives along with you, right? And that's I think one of the key things I believe in is I think the compliance, etc., is not the responsibility purely on finance. It's the responsibility of the company. That's the mindset shift. I think all of us, should move forward.
Arvind, Sanjay, any additional thoughts?
And the company is my responsibility for sure. और मुझे सबसे अच्छा फंडा लगता है ROC, be it AI, be it Jain AI, be it agentic AI. I think in case ROC is making some sense, and obviously fiduciary responsibilities, or in general we are human being, we know what is acha, what is bura. In case it is within that boundary wall of acha, and always we should do that ROC calculation in case this is making me some kind of benefit, be AI, be it tomorrow कुछ robotic का कुछ आएगा, कल को कुछ transformation कुछ नए आएंगे. I think after 6 months there will be some new topic we may be discussing. I think that ROC and that basic fundamentals of ethics, I think in case we are able to do.
I think financial controls, internal financial controls, frameworks, policies, regulations, all these are the responsibility of CFO. Even if something is coming or not coming, you are responsible ethically, principally, as a CFO for the organizations, because you have to safeguard the assets of the company and you are answerable to many authorities. So you need not to wait for the rules and should move on with their internal strong controlled built in the system.
Thank you. Thank you. No, thanks a lot for sharing your perspective. I think it was very, very insightful. For me, the takeaway is, I think, which is a good part, that AI will not going to replace the finance professionals or the finance function. But I think the other takeaway which I could gauge from this discussion is the finance professional who will embrace this new technology will redefine the finance function. So I think that's what we all should be looking at. Thank you.